It was Wednesday morning, Dombey Dell's great day. By the time Owen Krasnick walked into Mayhar Auditorium, the place was packed. Owen looked for an empty seat in the rear of the hall, but soon Dombey caught sight of him and motioned him grandly to the front. Obediently, Owen walked down the aisle, inspecting the crowd. At first glance, the devotees of Emily Dickinson's poetry looked like ordinary people. On the surface, they didn't appear to be helpless in the grip of greedy aspiration and territorial ardor. But strong passions were surging just under the skin, Owen knew, even now during the taking off of jackets, the settling of posteriors in the rows of seats, the crossing of knees and the blowing of noses, the courteous introductions, the pleasant chaffing. Listen. In the high pitch of the voices, in the tendency to laughter, you could detect the presence of all those underlying obsessions. You could see them in the sidelong glances left and right, in the craning of necks over shoulders. Do I see anyone I know? Does anyone else know me? Owen sat down and glanced at the newspaper on the seat beside him, where someone was saving a place. There was a grouchy headline: Coolidge Hall Fire Investigation Zilch so far. Tom Perry picked up the paper and sat down. "They tell me the New York Times man is here," he said, leaning over to Owen. "Over there on the aisle in the third row. See that guy in the seersucker suit?" Then Tom moved one seat away. "Save that one for Allison," he said. "Look, here she comes." The hall was darkening. A spotlight drifted across the curtain. Owen looked up and gasped. Allison Grove was stepping into the ring of light. The rest of the audience was electrified, too, at the sight of Emily Dickinson in person. They clapped. They made happy chirrupings of appreciation. What a lovely facsimile. On the platform, Allison stood quietly in the dazzling glare, waiting for the applause to stop. But for a moment longer they kept it up. The wood-burning stove man uttered a shrieking whistle through his teeth. Professor Nogubuchi applauded in a transport of enthusiasm. Tilly Porch, too, was pleased. Allison's dress was a success. Tilly had sat up till 4 in the morning to finish it. Did the tucks show in the back, where she had tightened it this morning to fit Allison's slender waist? Did the hem look bunchy where she had turned it up a second time? No. The dress was lovely. Tilly smiled and clapped. Ellen Oak steeled herself to endure. At last the room grew still, and Allison read her poem. It was a familiar one. "This is my letter to the world that never wrote to me, the simple news that nature told with tender majesty. Her message is committed to hands I cannot see, for love of her, sweet countrymen, judge tenderly of me." As Allison glided back through the curtain, there was a general exhalation of suspended breath, then a roar of approval. Judge tenderly? They would show her how tender they could be. The clapping went on and on. Homer Kelly's applause was feeble. He soon gave up and sat on his hands. As for Winnie Gore, she couldn't bear it. Turning to Dombey, she whispered scornfully, "Emily didn't look like that." "Well, what the hell," said Dombey Dell, still applauding violently. "Who cares?" And then someone sitting behind Winnie leaned forward and offered her own opinion. It was the sentimental lady from Springfield, Mary Bell Spikes. "I bet her soul sort of shone in her face, you know what I mean? Like some people have these really, really beautiful faces, because their spirit just really shines out of them, you know? You don't even look at their features. Well, okay, maybe they're not so great to look at really, but you just say, hey, there goes a beautiful woman."